Last night, there were two teams that had the names DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine tied to them within the last 12 months, and both teams got clapped. Despite the fact that Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan were not on the Chicago Bulls play like they were, and all of a sudden we have a nice play-in exit. The Sacramento Kings also have Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan on that team. Now, give me one reason why Sacramento thought that the pairing that didn't work in Chicago would work in Sacramento. I have no idea. If you want to talk about poorly ran organizations, put Sacktown on there because what the heck, bro? Like in the course of literally like 24 months, you went from having a first coach to actually put you on the map since, dare I say, the Mike Bibby and Vlade Divac era going against Shaq or Chris Webber, excuse me. You had the first team to actually put you on the map. First coach to do that. You fired him after extending him. Then decided to hit the trade market. By the way, you lost your point guard. Then decided to say, hey, you saw those two guys over there in Chicago? Yeah, the one guy who gets a lot of buckets in the post, another guy who looks like he could be a really good wing player that didn't really work out well together. Yeah, those guys will be perfect for this organization. And you decided to go after them, and look at what you got. Another play-in exit or, playoff loss, however you want to consider it. I don't know what's going on in Sacramento, but I tell you this, it is trash. That is the epitome of a poorly ran organization if I've ever seen one. Now, I'm a Chicago into Chicago ends, but I'm always going to keep it a buck. Chicago has been trash when it comes to making decisions and putting people in place. But I will have to say, getting rid of Zach LaVine and getting rid of DeMar DeRozan as a pair was one of the best moves they made in recent years. Outside of drafting Buzelis. I was about to say Sabonis. That clearly, that needed to happen. It was a swing and a miss, didn't work. And here we are. So now what is this video ultimately about? We're about this play-in updates, and guess what? It is time for us to start having a conversation as to what Chicago needs to do moving forward and what Sacramento needs to do moving forward. Now, the one thing I will give Sacramento a huge kudos to is the moment that they found out that they were clearly not going to make it to the next round in this whole little play-in situation, that GM was fired. Yeah, he was out of there. Buddy didn't even get a chance to, he knew he was getting fired from jump. As soon as that season over with, they was like, get your box. And he was done, right? Now, that's one thing I do give them credit for. I can't harp much on a team that is willing to make the changes to get better. I have to give you credit for that. If you know you made a mistake, you need to make some moves, cool. Did they make a huge mistake as to getting rid of Mike Brown, all that stuff? I think so. But maybe this is the start of them going toward better. If you are someone who keeps up with the Kings, then you know that Sabonis had his exit interview, and one of the things he said is, when asked what do they need to get over the hump and plan for the future, he said we need a point guard. Yeah, the one you just let go. Yeah, but it's clear, and I'll be honest with you, if you're a Kings fan, but you have not followed the Bulls or you didn't see what was happening there, the best version of DeMar and the best version of Zach, of them coexisting, is when they had Patrick Beverley. A guard that says, I don't know why he ain't taking most of the shots, but that guy needs to take the shots. And if you watch that stretch of basketball, the Bulls played beautiful basketball with all three on the floor. Why they didn't run that back? But that's a good segue as to what the Bulls need to be doing. Honestly, I am still confused as to why Billy Donovan has a job. Here's a list of all the organizations that have made and it's not going to be all, I'm just going to name one, who fired their coaches for a variety of reasons that would be better. Let me get the coach from the Memphis Grizzlies. Yeah, remember he got fired? By the way, he had a positive record even when Ja wasn't there, which means that he was able to get the best out of a team that didn't have their superstar. That sounds like a good coach. Oh, by the way, as according to my last video, if you paid attention to his in-game adjustments and stuff like that, heck of a coach. Put his team in good positions, knew how to draw plays, and would have absolutely drawn up a better play in that game that Memphis ended up losing, which, I mean, sounds like that's what coaches are there for, right? Funny how that works out. But, again, not to harp on this, but it's like, hey, guess what? They got rid of him for whatever the reasons were. Doesn't seem like it was anything nefarious at this point. Doesn't seem like he was into anything weird. From what we know from a public perspective, how about we go get that guy? Like I said, I'm a Chicagoan to Chicago wins. How about we go get that guy? Because Billy D ain't working. Billy D is not working. I think he has a losing record here, despite the fact that he was nominated to the Hall of Fame, which he does deserve. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's not a good coach. I'm saying it ain't worked out here. And I don't believe it's going to work out in the future. And I think that the locker room, to some degree, needs a new voice, a new scheme. And sometimes, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not going to make it seem as if he lost the locker room, things of that nature, although it did look like that from time to time. But what I will say is, if any team really needed to make a move, if any team was going to fire their coach and make a move for the future, the Bulls firing Billy Donovan would not have been a stretch. Jenkins in Memphis, that's a stretch. Mike Brown a year or two ago with Sacramento, heck are you doing? That's a stretch. Like, be for real. Some of these moves did not make sense. There's another team. I had it on the list. I just lost it at my mind. But I'm in flow state, so bear with me here. But I know there's some other coaches that got fired. It was like, yo, what are you doing? Oh, Bud. Phoenix. Bud didn't deserve to get fired. That quote that he said, hey, I need Bradley Beal to play more like Drew Holiday, and Drew Holiday was like, don't compare me to him. Hey, Drew Holiday is a more decorated player than you, Bradley Beal. At this point, you are a 250, whatever. You get paid like 50, 60 million a year. You're like top 5 in annual salary, and that is highway robbery for the production you put out. Whether you injured or not, you are not the point guard, not the defender that Drew Holiday is. And guess what? That man's a 2-time champ. 2 times. Pivotal on both of them. I put Bradley Beal on the championship team right now. That man would be all he's gonna do. He definitely ain't gonna make plays on the defensive end. I don't care what he say. I know. You ain't play perfect. I don't care. I know what I see. Bradley Beal doesn't impact the game the same way Drew Holiday is. To be compared to Drew Holiday for the team that you're on now, with a Devin Booker who's better, with a Kevin Durant who's better, that is a compliment for you, especially as trash as you've been being on the Phoenix Suns. I'm going on a rant, but I'm just saying, Bud didn't deserve to get fired over there. Those players didn't play. Bradley Beal holding that team hostage. That is a poor ownership over there. So that's what we're covering today. We're covering bad teams today because, again, the Phoenix Suns, trash. I don't know what that head coach, but guess what? Bulls, go hire Bud. I'd rather have Bud there than Billy D. Why? He been in the chip before. Knows championship. He does have a scheme, despite what Pat says. Memphis, that coach fired. Go get that guy. Heck, where the heck is Mike Brown? I don't know. I gotta find out where he is. I just like there's moves for the Chicago to make that they need to make. There's moves to be made in Sacramento that they definitely need to make. And at this point, we throwing Phoenix in there because I use them. They definitely need to make some moves. All in all, we just saw the play-in tournament end with these particular teams end with unceremonious exits. I mean, the Sacramento Kings lost to a Dallas Mavericks team that had a one-leg Clay actually go off in the second quarter. No Kyrie, and AD was being AD. They had no answer for AD. Like, honestly, the Mavericks weren't even at full strength. Clap them boys. You got to get it together, man. We got to get to it. But I want to know your thoughts. I want to know your thoughts on the Sacramento Kings. Obviously, they blew it. Both teams got blown out for the most part. The Bulls, if you're a Bulls fan, again, I'm Chicago went to Chicago wins. And since we just threw them in there, tell me what you feel about the Suns, because the sun ain't shining in Phoenix. Let me know your thoughts. Whether it's love, whether it's hate, put it in the chat. I'll be in there with you. Till next time. Peace.